What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I see Liz in the chat. What's going on, Liz? See who else we have that's going to pop on here in a little bit. Extremely excited for tonight. We're going to have a blast. We have our good friends over at ShortBarrel on. So really excited for tonight's live stream. Try to be selective with live streams and just make sure that I'm bringing excellent content day in, day out. And so I'm really excited to have the guys on from ShortBarrel. Let's see who else we have in the chat. Who's on, and more important, what are you sipping as well? So what are you sipping? See my good friend Liz. Liz, how are you? Always a pleasure, Liz. Good to see you. Miss Bourbon Traveler. Bourbon Traveler. What's going on? Cheers to you as well. Or Miles, I'm sorry, Miles Bourbon Traveler. What's going on, Miles? Always good to see you, Miles. Always a pleasure. Who else do we have in the chat tonight? And what are you sipping as well? Tater Dom. What's going on, Tater Dom? Cheers to you, my friend. What are you sipping on, Tater Dom? What's in the glass? Esther from Newport, Virginia Beach. Esther, so you guys are hitting the road pretty soon, I believe. So congratulations. I know your whiskey collection, Esther, might be shrinking soon, which is a little sad. I'm sad to hear that your whiskey collection might be shrinking as you hit the road. If you need to store any of your whiskey, Esther, you always have the Judge household. Don't worry. Now, some of it might be missing when you get back, but you can always store some of your whiskey in my house. Devontae, what's going on? Little 1920. Okay. Going old school. Nothing wrong with there. Whiskey Row. That's good stuff. Good stuff. You're more than welcome, Esther, for your Glen. You are more than welcome. CJP, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Yes, likewise. Yeah, definitely really excited as well for tonight. So, all right, I've kept these gentlemen on hold for too long. So, a lot of people know I recently did a review of ShortBarrel of their cigar batch. And I mean, this was a brand that I heard about for a while, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. I heard about ShortBarrel for a while. I was in Kentucky. I saw their products. I was like, I want to buy a bottle. Got back home, you buy other bottles. And I was like, when I get back to Kentucky, the next time I need to get a bottle of ShortBarrel. So one of my patrons was kind enough, sent me a sample of their cigar batch. And I was like, holy shit, this is some good whiskey. This is phenomenal. So worked out. I reached out to Clinton, and I was like, hey, Clinton, can I get you guys on the channel? So Clinton agreed. And now we have the trifecta. So we have all three gentlemen who own ShortBarrel tonight on the channel, which I'm really excited. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Adam, Patrick, and Clinton. Let's bring them on one by one. Start my friend in the red. What's going on, Patrick?
How are you?
Good, sir. How are you doing, my friend?
Man, doing well. Excited to do these. These things have taken up more and more of our time, but we have a blast every time we do these. These things last for hours every time we pop on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I promise I won't keep you guys too long. I promise. I know it's a Monday night. I know how it is. Trust me.
All right.
I promise you. And I see we have Adam on as well. What's going on, Adam?
What's up, Patrick?
How's it going?
Good to see you guys.
Adam. Yeah, good to see you too, man. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. I know you guys are busy running companies and running the world, the whiskey world. So I appreciate you jumping on, Adam.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no worries. Let's go ahead and close out with the trifecta from ShortBarrel. My good friend Clinton. What's going on, Clinton?
Yeah, I'm just laughing at Patrick's background and the stroller back there.
Yeah.
I just realized I need one of those push for whiskey buttons like they have at that bar.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Like a yes button almost in a way. That is pretty cool, actually. That is pretty cool.
No,
I remember those days.
Everybody here tonight's in for a treat. I think this is literally maybe only the second time since we started the company 4 years ago that we've all been on the same live stream together. So this should be pretty fun.
That's
wow.
pretty true, actually. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That is so cool. Well, hey, let's go ahead and dive into it. So I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. I see a lot of different people out there talking about different releases like the Bee's Knees, which I have here. And actually, I grabbed this bottle because another friend of mine sent me a sample of the Bee's Knees. And I was like, I told my wife, because she loves going online shopping, which there's nothing wrong with that. I said, please find me a bottle of ShortBarrel like ASAP. Like I need this Bee's Knees. So I got this actually, I think the same day I got your package, Clinton. So can't wait to crack this open as well. But yeah, let's kick it off. I would love to know from you guys. So I think I read online, it's a pretty cool story of how you guys all kind of came together to form ShortBarrel, but maybe kind of tell everyone about that story if you don't mind.
Mr. Dorfman, stage is yours.
I'll take that one.
All right.
In 2015, I was pretty deep into whiskey collecting and was trying to really figure out what I liked. And a good friend of mine worked for a local distributor. And, I was getting into collecting private picks, and my buddy goes, "Hey, go meet with my buddy who owns this store and introduce yourself. I think they're trying to kind of up their game with single barrels." So I go and I introduce myself to the owner of the store. And I said, "Hey, so who does your single barrel picks?" He goes, "Sometimes I do them. Sometimes it's they just kind of pick it for me because I'm too busy." I said, "Well, I got a proposition for you.
Okay.
Do it at our own expense. But if I put a group of guys together, would you be open to letting us come and do a pick for your store and see how it goes? No commitments, like just one-time thing. If it goes well, we'll do a few more. If not, no harm, no foul. We had some fun drinking some booze." Fast forward, we get up, we do our first pick at Four Roses. We had 12 guys there for this pick. It was wild. We ended up buying 6 barrels of bourbon that day.
Wow.
Had an absolute blast. And Short Barrel, the barrel picking group, was born.
Okay.
There were about 12 guys, I guess, to start. Clinton came in shortly thereafter. I met Patrick through Clinton a little later. And over the course of about 5.5 years, we picked 350 barrels of spirits, ranging from bourbon, rye, tequila, Armagnac, cognac, for this store. And it got to a point where Clinton and I started this like kind of silly little Instagram page, a few hundred followers, whatever else. And we would just post when we went on barrel picking trips, and we would post when a new pick came out. And it got to a point where when we would post, barrels that used to take months to sell would sell out in a day. And so we kind of daydreamed a little bit about what would it be like to start our brand. And then the world shut down for a while in 2020, and Clinton and I were next door neighbors. We were Wilson off from Home Improvement. We had our rule that we couldn't have a drink before 5, otherwise we'd probably just die. And so we would meet out back in our backyard every day, and we would talk a little bit. And we got to a point where we had just kind of talked about it, but nothing was really going on. And Clinton and Patrick were able to go. I was not able to go on a barrel picking trip up to Buffalo Trace, and I'll hand it off to these guys for that.
So there's a lot of blurry moments during that Buffalo Trace pick, as there always are. But as a Sunday fun day,
there were a lot of blurry moments during every one of our picks.
True.
I bet. I wish I was in some of those. They sound like a blast.
Depending on how much Clinton has to drink, we'll see if we can get him to talk about shotgunning nacho flavored beer.
Nope,
oh my gosh! Oh
boy. We were sitting in a bar in downtown Louisville and met a barrel broker. It was a pretty crazy day. If anybody remembers when the mixtures auction was going on for their first ever single barrel, we were sitting with a group that happened to be bidding on it, and we were drinking heavily, and we stopped bidding on that barrel because we're like, okay, this is nuts. And the barrel broker said, "Hey, you guys are pretty cool. If you are interested, like I sell bourbon for a living. If you guys want to start your brand, I'm ordering barrels this week." So drunkenly, we committed to buying 6 barrels of whiskey that day. 48 hours later, he called me. I called Adam and said, "Hey, I think we did something halfway potentially dumb, but I think we're going to start a whiskey company. I think we're going to call it Short Barrel." Adam said, "Hey, it's COVID. There's not too much else going on. Sure. What's the worst that could happen? We're stuck with 6 barrels of whiskey," and we figure it out. This is a funny story. Like a lot of brands have ideas, or they understand what they're going to do before they buy whiskey. Well, we bought whiskey and kind of figured it out, and we figured it out on our own. Our first labels are hilarious. They were printed on like an inkjet printer. They weren't waterproof. Like we actually had no business probably even being on the shelves. But those first 6 barrels sold out in a matter of distributors like 3 hours or something like that. And then they went to stores and they were gone. And they were just some 6.5-year-old Barton High Rye. Like it was pretty crazy. So we said, okay, we got something here, but it was COVID. Like getting glass and all that other stuff was wild. So we just kept buying whiskey and buying whiskey and buying whiskey, and kind of here we are.
You are.
That's kind of the PG version.
You missed the part where we all took out home equity lines on our houses to buy whiskey. That's part of the plan.
Yeah. I also missed the part where I puked that night and everything else too. But there's
that wasn't my story to share.
Yeah,
that's right. Hey, but now we all know. So it sounds like shotgunning some beer, some puking, some home equity line of credits. But hey, the brand is here. The brand is obviously doing well. People love your whiskey. I saw the comment from CJP talking about like your whiskey and so forth, which is good stuff.
And we'll talk about a lot of the releases. Yeah, I mean, Short Barrel has two things. It's known in the industry for a barrel that's lost 51% or more to evaporation. And it's also known for Adam's height. So there's 2 different things the Short Barrel actually came from. No, this is true. This is actually true, and that's kind of where the name came from. but it has some connotations too. But yeah, we're having a lot of
my buddy Bo, who was one of the original Short Barrel guys, the big dude, and he just picks me up and goes, "What's up, my little Short Barrel?" and starts carrying me around a distillery, and it kind of the name stuck.
Oh wow, that is too funny. Oh my gosh. Oh,
I'm almost 5'8" in shoes.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I look at people that are 6 feet
Patrick,
tall.
what are you drinking?
That's a dart and grapefruit.
Oh gosh.
Did we get the judge any lawn dart?
I didn't, but I should have sent him.
Okay.
We'll talk more about that later. But no,
Yeah,
it was,
hear more about lawn dart.
So I'm almost 6'4". Patrick's almost 6'5", and then I'm about 310 pounds, and Patrick is just a tall, handsome individual. So Adam looks like a littler person next to it.
Do you have the old Inconceivable sticker you could pull up?
No, I don't.
A tall, handsome individual.
He's a really good-looking guy.
Oh my gosh,
it's infuriating.
Yeah,
I mean, really,
I love it. I love it. That is too funny. So, all right. So you guys started out, obviously, like you said, I think, Clinton, you did it kind of backwards. Like most people have like a true strategy, like it's formed, it's outlined, right? And so forth, like a business plan, all documented. You guys were like, well, let's just buy some whiskey and just shit happens, right? I guess one night just kind of formed the partnership, and here you are. That's a very interesting story. That's crazy, but I love it though. I love it.
When Clinton tells a story, I think we've told enough times. We say it with a lot of confidence, and we're all hazy on the details of how this started. And we laugh. We pride ourselves. We messed up every step along the way trying to launch this company. All the legal work, all the filings, all the licenses that we had to get. We pride ourselves that, hopefully we only mess things up once, but we literally messed up every step along the way.
Did you guys know that bourbon gets better as it stays in a barrel? Because we did know that, but then we didn't think about the fact that we should wait to bottle it until we had a license to sell it. So we bottled it and it sat in cases for 7 months.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah. So if we would have waited, our first product would have been a 7 year, not a 6.5 year.
Wow. Oh my. Wow.
We are incredibly optimistic about the speed with which we can get things done.
You guys are. Yeah. You guys are definitely optimistic for sure.
People were actually pretty impressed. At the speed we did work out. We went from being on paper, not joking around, but LLC form, to being on shelves within 9 months. To actually do it right nowadays, you're about 1.5 years to actually launch a brand on its own right now. So. We had that going for us. It was COVID. We had a lot of reading to do, and we probably read the wrong thing a few times. But we're all good now.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, good point. Whiskey Nose. Yeah, it is awesome. It's phenomenal for sure. It's definitely killer. Indeed. All right, so that brings up a good point. So there's 3 of you. You guys are all friends, which is awesome. I wish I had 3, or I guess 2 other friends to start a whiskey company with. So I need to step up my friend game first and foremost. But how do you guys divide and conquer, right? I mean, you're starting your brand out, right? It's COVID. Like, how do you figure out, who's doing what? Is one person like the marketing guru? Is one the blending expert, and the other one's like the just bring all the crap together kind of stuff? Like, how do you figure out who does what? Because that's kind of tough, right?
The only rule is I don't do math.
Okay.
Luckily, we kind of lucked out. Patrick's background is finance and operations.
Man, Jim Harmon's on.
Well, that's awesome.
Sorry.
You also tell Adam has ADHD and we'll just randomly yell things.
That's all right.
My background's actually marketing and digital and creative, and Adam's is actually sales, operations, and leading large teams. So our backgrounds actually meshed really well, and we've somehow remained all friends during these 4.5 years of starting. And
high executive function crippling ADD. That's what.
Yeah. But that was kind of it. I mean, we all had unique skill sets that allowed us to kind of understand. And then us being so ingrained in the bourbon communities too, we kind of knew what the market was looking for. The biggest one was obviously, and they didn't even know they were looking for it this deep at the time, but transparency was one. And we always made a promise to always put out a good product at a fair price. We never really chased we launched one bourbon during that time. We had a 15-year stuff like everybody else did. And it's at $199, and I wish we could do it again at what people know now. But we never really wanted to be that brand that was just kind of putting out subpar juice and chasing the $100 price point. That we really kind of went for it and really, looked at margins, looked at everything. And, now we're sitting pretty much across our brand, other than special releases and single barrels. We're a $60 product right now, which is super exciting. That our ryes are, now 6 to 8 years old in the blends. Our bourbon's now, approaching 5. So we're we're getting a lot of the best stuff that we can actually have right now.
That's good. So you try to make sure like it's at a great price point, so that to CJB's point, so that everyone can obviously enjoy it, which I think is really cool. And speaking a little bit about like, like allocation, as I mentioned earlier, like in terms of like availability, rather, I should say. I remember seeing Short Barrel for the first time when I was out in Kentucky, and I said to myself, right, honestly, right, because I'm a consumer, I'm like, I'm going to buy Short Barrel right when I get home, right, because I didn't have enough room in my suitcase to pack yet another bottle, right? I was like, I'm going to buy when I get home, and then I got home, and I'm like, shit, I can't find Short Barrel near me, right, like in the Northeast and so forth. So where can you find your products, like states, online retailers that you partner with? Like, how does that work?
So currently we're distributed in Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida.
Okay.
Through our online distributor, which is fulfilled out of Texas, we can ship to 47 states.
Oh, wow.
Apologies to Michigan, North Dakota, and like Vermont or New Hampshire. I think it's one of those that we can't ship to. And those kind of shift, that's up to our third-party distributor where they ship into. Okay. So we have blanket coverage, but it's those 4 states for now. And Clinton and I get hit up every day in email about adding states, adding territories. And we've just, currently we've kind of had to put the brakes on that to focus on the states that we're in to really make sure that we're getting same state growth, that we can go support the accounts and single barrels that we're putting out there. Yeah. So for now, it's the 4 states. I saw a couple comments on South Carolina. South Carolina is naturally, that might be one of our next steps. When that is, I don't know when that's going to happen, but you can purchase our products on our website and get it shipped to South Carolina. Okay. But every day we're getting hit up asking about it.
Clinton, for everybody who's on here, let's set up a free shipping code for 2 or more bottles.
Yeah, I can do that.
That way people can get it as though it were local.
Yeah, I'll do it right now and drop it in the comments. Give me a second.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Man, yeah, I've got the best kid ever. My daughter just brought me a present because I ran up here.
Alondo?
Is your daughter bringing you whiskey? Oh, that is awesome. Now that is a good kid.
Thank you.
That is a good kid. I love that. Esther, I think you're good to go. I don't think Patrick said Virginia was one of those 4 states.
No, it's just going to be Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Kentucky for right now for distribution on shelves.
But online shipping, though, you can ship to Virginia. That's one of the ones that is okay.
Yeah, okay, we don't. We just want to stress we don't ship. We have an online distributor that handles everything for us. They're the same people that fulfill for Caskers and Reserve Bar and other large companies too. Well, awesome. we are revamping our website right now. Our website has a lot of just core products on it, as we call them. Yeah. We've made a promise to everybody. You will see more exclusive releases on our website here very soon. The issue is just kind of shipping in summer, and the cigar batch took a mind of its own. I wanted that bottle to be online so bad, and it didn't really ever make it even really out of our warehouse, which was crazy.
We have some really cool projects coming up for the fall. We're going to do between our website and through Sealbox and a few other Reserve Bar, a few other things.
Yeah, I was going to say, shout out to Sealbox too. Blake's going to take on some of our stuff this fall, and Reserve Bar is as well.
That's awesome. Can we gauge curiosity about an exclusive for Sealbox? Would anybody be interested in?
I'm sure they would. I'm sure. I would love to know the finish. Like, is everyone interested in like a regular, like a standard non-finished, or would people love more of like a cigar barrel, a honey barrel, or some other different finish? I would love to know. Definitely drop a comment for sure.
Cigar is going to be tough. Please, no one say cigar in those comments.
I set everyone up. Sorry.
Cigar is going to be tough.
Right now, I get text at least 5 times a week from stores or accounts. Hey, can I come in and get a barrel of hazmat?
Oh wow. I can't lie. When I opened up the box from Clinton, I was like, wow, that is flipping dark. I'm like, is this even bourbon? I'm like, goodness gracious, what is this? And obviously it was hazmat, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, pretty. That was part of the acquisition when we acquired Old Fourth Distillery here in Atlanta. That was some of the barrels that they had some of the first stuff they ever laid down. So it was MGP sourced, but 100% aged in Atlanta. So it went pretty nuts with the Atlanta heat.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
I'm really curious. I mean, Patrick, what was it today? It was 100 outside. So what was it inside?
So by noon on the other side of the door, it was 90 degrees up in the tasting room. So at the back of our warehouse, the ambient temperature on the floor in the middle of the afternoon will get to about 94, 95. We have a 53-foot trailer on the back that we're heat cycling barrels in. That floors at about 90 degrees in the early mornings, and then it will just cook in the afternoons. And then when we open our dock doors about 4:30 in the afternoon, the sun will creep out on the side of our building, and the barrels in the back, the air temperature is at 120.
Wow.
The hoops are hot to the touch.
Yeah, you can't put your hand on it for long.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I get an over medium egg in about 3 minutes on some of these things.
Damn. So what do you guys think about this, Adam? I'm going to pick your brain, Adam. What do you think about
this
these?
Ryan just said, what about a double oaked bee's knees? That sounds intriguing.
Ooh,
cool. I'm already doing it.
Really?
Yeah. I have some crazy honey coming out this fall that's going to blow people's
We have a
minds.
lot of honey barrels. One of the things we're talking about doing is doing a honey sampler for every state that we're in. We do honey from that state.
Yeah,
we
do. Yeah, we're doing some 375s. So Judge is the free shipping code on shortbarrelbourbon.com. It's set up to never expire, so you don't have to rush and do it right now. Even if we have new products coming out, like I know the new El Jefe is about to drop on the site here pretty soon, and other stuff too.
Add a bottle of Londard with free shipping.
Yeah, so I'm seeing all these comments over here. Toasted rye is 100% coming. I have 10 barrels of Kentucky rye and Kelvin barrels right now. Lots of higher proof coming for sure. Double oaked bee's knees is going to be a thing. I did some really cool stuff. I took new Kelvin barrels and barrel aged honey in that to start, and then I have a little trick going behind those too. Double oaked rye, yep, experimenting with that too. So since I came over in February, my first day was middle of February. I laid down about 109. We've dumped about 190 barrels of whiskey.
Holy crap!
Since then, just as experiments. We have about 1,600 barrels in Atlanta right now, but you'll get to see a lot of that when you come down and hang out with us. But we're experimenting anywhere with double oaks to. We have some crazy wine finishes for wine companies, Del Dotto, Myriad, some other very high end wine they're working with right now. Double oaked maple is probably going to be a thing. I'm working on some of that. Cigar batch is actually cigar batch 2 will be a little bit different. I've done the blends already, and I actually have the batches aging in cognac barrels, the big punctions right now. Yeah. So we're going to see how that comes out. I mean, we're basically I'm experimenting with a lot. There's some things that I'm probably talking that might not hit our standards. Like I've had honey and rye barrels for over a year. I don't think they're ready yet, so they're basically just going to keep going. I don't
sit back for a little bit.
Yeah. And we have some fun honey. One of our big things with the honey is we work with beekeepers in every single state that we distribute in. Okay. So now beekeepers are kind of coming to us and say, "Hey, I have different forms of honey I've never really thought of." So I have cranberry honey, I have raspberry honey, I have blueberry honey. I have quite a few different things. Yeah, they all sound a little taterish, I know. But they're going to be really cool. And some of them will be one-off projects that will probably go to groups or online, different things. They're not going to make to go to they're not going to really go to distribution. I see Ryan right there. So the maple vanilla cask was awesome. We ran that back, so that's coming back. Most of those will come under the Short Barrel brand.
Hey, one of those is going to Jim at Grapes and Grains, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Here's a good question. Now, this one comes up every now and then, like with different. Whenever I do like a live stream, what about like collaboration? Do you guys ever do collaborations, and if you haven't thus far, would you ever look into do like a collaboration with like another distillery?
We've talked about a few different things, and I go through DMs a lot where we potentially are going to send some barrels to someone else, and they're going to send some barrels down here and just kind of see what that looks like. It's definitely something that we're looking heavily into. We just don't know how that would work. It would have to be an online exclusive, but it's definitely something we're thinking about.
Yeah. No. Good. All right. Good point. Good stuff. Mrs. Judge, she has a question for you guys about like signing up. Like, does your website offer like any type of like a sign up for like email notifications? Like, hey, this is dropping on X day on Sailbox, or and so forth.
Website doesn't. If you're on our social medias and you click the link tree, there's an email sign up directly buried into that goes into our MailChimp software.
All right.
And we do a few things.
Good stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
The biggest thing we use email for right now is events more than anything. But I'm getting better at when things hit on our website or things are going out or promo codes. We're definitely sending emails.
That's cool. Good stuff. That's awesome. Well, it sounds like Sailbox is definitely the way to go. I saw that Adam asked that question, and I was looking at some of the different comments. It looks like people would love to grab stuff off of Sailbox. super simple, easy to buy from. So, and they're used to it as well. A lot of people, like even myself, have accounts set up with Silbox. So, sounds like that's a winner all day long.
I will tell you, if you don't subscribe to Reserve Bar, subscribe to Lee. Came in and picked an absolute banger barrel with us a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Stout barrel.
No, the stout barrel is not going to drop till the fall. It was an OZ Tyler barrel.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. All right, I'm thirsty. I've had some of your 94 proof toasted Kentucky. Clinton, take me home. Where am I going next, brother? What should I try?
What did I send you?
Definitely not the hazmat. Let's say that.
No,
I got the honey, which I could try the honey.
Yeah, you've had that one.
Yeah, that one I've had.
That was a single barrel.
Single barrel rye. Looks interesting.
That's Kentucky.
Ooh, is that Kentucky rye?
Yeah.
So we had some people over last night. Went to a concert up down here in Atlanta, and people opened. I had a bottle of the Metro bottle single barrel rye,
which
is the same source, and people were just going crazy for it.
Let me pop this one open.
Patrick and I split a 2-ounce sample and bought 280 barrels of this rye off.
What's the proof on that one?
Wow, 121 point. Looks like maybe it was a 3 or 2.
It's an 8. Yeah,
okay. There we go.
Yeah, that's that went to Florida. That was Kenny's barrel.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you've never had, so this is pretty cool. So Green River obviously launched their rye. We source from tons of different distilleries, but this was OZ Tyler rye, so pre Green River.
Okay.
So we bought some of these a few years ago, and like they're 95.5. We eventually wanted to move Short Barrel over to Kentucky Rye. And we bought these thinking 95.5 would be logical since we're using MGP 95.5. And you're going to taste this. You'd be like, that's not 95.5. There's just zero chance that is a 95.5 rye.
Ooh. Patrick, do you want to share your description of it?
Yeah, I coined the phrase that there is no MG penis in this at all.
Not that we don't love MGP. We do love MGP.
I do love a good MG penis, but there's no MG penis in this.
No MG penis in this. None at all. This is pretty damn good. Wow. So did you say that you guys source from, did you say over 10 different distilleries?
Right now, yeah, we have about 10 different distilleries right now.
Wow.
Close to it.
That's a lot. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
and we blend them from all over the place.
And you do. You blend them as well. So you blend them, doesn't matter. Like you'll blend from distillery A and B together and come up with a unique offer bottle.
Yeah, I on our core products, I try to keep it pretty basic. Not necessarily basic, but our toasted is a blend of Bardstown and Green River, all finished in house. The toasted you actually had was the first one that we ever did inside of our new location, so it's a 6-month toast. So everything's pretty much done in house at this point.
I'll tell you what, Adam's campaign in life is to convert as many people to rye as possible. Like he will just die a happy man if he can convert more people to drinking rye.
Yeah.
He's on the mission, huh?
He's on a mission.
I'm a rye evangelist.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all. That is awesome.
I'm going to answer Rick's question here. He came a few minutes late, but he did a thing there. The name of the company was because when you're 5'7" and your 6'4" buddy picks you up and carries you around around a distillery drunk in Kentucky and calls you his little short barrel, sometimes the name will stick.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Those ryes are wild. Those ryes have been pretty funny for us. People will come in and do a single barrel pick with us, and they'll obviously pick their bourbon. Like, hey, we got some crazy rye. Do you want to try? Like, oh, rye just doesn't really sell. We're good. We let them try a sample, and they end up leaving with a barrel of rye too, which is pretty funny.
That is delicious. I'm gonna have more of that. I've been a big fan, honestly, of rye as well. And I will say, honestly, I can't lie. Going back 3 years ago, I was not a fan of rye. I was maybe like 80-20. Now I'm truly like 50-50 between bourbon and rye. I love myself some rye.
Were you drinking Whistle Pig rye?
Nah, I haven't had Whistle Pig in a while. I mean, I own it, obviously, but I haven't had any recently.
Well, that's what we hear a lot. Whistle Pig has done such a great job of kind of cornering the rye market, and people don't realize when they drink Whistle Pig rye, not that there's anything bad with it. I'm not hating on any other brands. Yep. It's just being that Canadian rye is a lot different experience than what you get with, Northern rye and Kentucky rye and other things. So it's just
or you've got what they call the barely legal ryes that are made in Kentucky, but they're like 51 to 55% rye.
Correct. That is true. True statement.
That Echo's pick is no joke.
Where's the Echo's pick? Where was that?
Yeah.
So that was that nearly 12-year-old MGP 131.4 proof.
Oh yeah, that was nuts.
I think it's
that that thing's going to show up in our award competition for how good that rye was.
That was one of those.
Really?
That was one of the ones where I walked by the tank and I was like, I like. There was in the last like 6 months, there have been 2 times I walked by a dump tank and I stopped and I was like, "What's that?"
What's cooking in there? Terrence is like everything in his collection, so that doesn't surprise me that he has that pick. The guy has like the biggest collection I know all around.
So what people don't realize when we buy barrels as a company, we don't. It's not like when you guys are coming in to do a single barrel pick with us, we buy blind. Like we've had barrels show up empty, we've had barrels show up, with a bottle in them type things. But we're buying 88 barrels usually at a time. We're buying truckloads. So we don't really know what we're going to get or kind of what's coming on the truck. We know mash bills. We don't know where they were stored in the warehouse. We don't know what tier. We know ages and mash bills usually. So we were fortunate to get some really cool MGP recently that it's about to turn 12. Actually, I think tomorrow, something like that. Anyways, it's we proofed them, and I'll never forget the day I opened them up. It's like, dang, there was a lot of pressure. So I grabbed the hydrometer and I proofed it. It was like 131. I'm like, guys, like this isn't right. Did someone mess with this today? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I recalibrated it. I'm like, Patrick, recalibrate this thing. Like, what's going on? Again, 131. I'm like, okay. So I just start popping bungs. I'm like, something's off here. I think the lowest one we've proofed so far is like 128 proof, and these are old ryes from MGP. They were all just happen to be top tier 6 MGP ryes. We've never seen running like this, and they're just hit after hit after hit after hit right now.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Barrels still look good. It's weird. I mean, they were on the top tier and just cooked. The barrels are clean. They're 12 now, as of today. A lot of these. Yeah, the barrels look too good to be 12 years. They've just been on top where they just cooked. Absolutely baked.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Troy, I see your question. We source anything from Middle West? No, we haven't. I'm a big fan of their products, so if they're listening, holler at me. How long did it take to really master your craft of blending? I'll talk a lot about blending here pretty soon, unless you guys want to.
I would love to know a little bit more. Let's dive into blending. I'm gonna keep sipping some of this whiskey too. I think I might even go over to, I don't know, this vanilla finish is kind of calling my name. I got to go to this vanilla finish.
Yeah, so that was a big. You can actually taste those when you come down. So it's been interesting. I have a lot to learn. Adam has a lot to learn. Patrick has a lot to learn on blending. But I think the one big thing that we were always keen on too is what people liked from an early on. Like we said no to a lot of things because we always thought consumer in mind when we were a barrel picking group.
Okay.
So blends, the biggest thing I chase on blends is I still want that long finish, and I still want it to where you put down your blend of like, okay, that's interesting. And one thing I've learned, and I'll pick on the cigar batch, and I'll pick on El Jefe a little bit. When I do those blends, so I'm taking American whiskey and I'm taking bourbon. I'm kind of looking at how to layer, a bourbon in with an American whiskey and kind of vice versa. So sure. I've actually watched Aaron a lot from Smoke Wagon and kind of things he's done and weighing out barrels and weighing it, like basically knowing what he's working with math equations. But I still just kind of chase that long lingering finish.
Okay.
Something that kind of makes you just keep thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And blending's more of just, you have to tell yourself no when it's good. Like, there's a lot of times I'll go to Patrick and Adam and say, hey, I just don't think this is where I want it to be. And they're like, shut up, just stop tweaking it. You're never going to chase what you're looking for and just release it. And that's what happened with the cigar batch. It was like, I chased that thing for 6 weeks. I'm like, it's just missing something. So I'm sitting there adding, cups at a time or 750s at a time, just trying to figure out what I want. They're like, leave it alone. Just stop. Let it go.
Here's on the opposite side of that, Clinton. How often do you blend something and you're like to yourself, you're like, damn, I think this is great. But then you give a sip to like Adam and Patrick and they're like, dude, that's a complete miss. How often does that happen?
Actually, more surprising than you think. It's never that it's a miss. It's just It's kind of lacking some depth, or it's a little drier than when I'm sitting there tasting over and over again, my palate gets fatigued pretty well. So it's nice to basically hand it off to those guys and say, hey, where's it missing? And Adam will say, hey, it's missing sweetness, or Patrick will be, hey, I just don't like that back end of that dryness. And I immediately know kind of what barrels to push or where to pull things out of. And they're kind of my best and biggest critics because, we're all in this together too. And I'm learning every day. Like, right now I'm going through kind of the first season of it being hot. Like we keep talking about lawn dart. I haven't blended anything in about 3 weeks. Matter of fact, I tried to blend a cigar batch the other day as I was just messing around, and I just couldn't get into it because it's hot. Like it's just, it's your palate is just way different in the summer than it is in the spring, fall, and winter. It's different.
That's true. That's a true
Yeah,
statement.
I'll tell you, it's a true art form, especially a lot of things that Clinton does. So this cigar blends, these cigar batches that we have, these barrels, it takes a year, some of them 2 years, LFA in the case of 3 years to finish. Whatever we're left with on the back end, it's what we have.
Okay.
You're taking individual barrels that you might not pick as a single barrel, but you have to blend them in a way that elevates the entire product. You have to learn what a barrel is lacking and marry that with a barrel that can emphasize or elevate that barrel in certain ways, because it takes a year to make. And what I feel like we've done a very good job, and specifically Clinton's done a very good job with, is it's marrying barrels together that complement each other. And that's the true art of this. And it's very difficult to do. He'll hand me stuff all the time. He's the best friend I have. I'll be sitting in the warehouse with some crappy taxes or something, and he'll hand me something like
crappy taxes.
Like, it's great. It just needs the mid palate's a little thin, or it falls off a little too quick. What can we add to the back end? Like, what did you build this with? What can we add to the back end? And he'll go do his thing in the back and come back with something else, and it's fixed.
It's fixed.
Yeah,
I like
and kind of one of the privilege I have as a blender right now too. I have a little bit of time on my side. I don't rush anything out, so we've learned really hard this year is just let things sit, leave them be, don't mess with it. So, cigar batch, that's sat in the tank for what, over a month?
Easily.
Both tanks for over a month, 6 weeks, and really just mingled in tank. Where before, we work at other distilleries, so we're on their time, we're in their tanks, they need it out.
Yeah.
So not that it was bad or rushed, it just didn't get a chance to.
We were a client.
Yeah, we were a client.
I mean, they cared about us, we cared about them, but they were a client. We were a client.
Yeah.
And now we've spent a bunch of money buying really kick-ass tanks that we can store stuff in for extended periods of time to make sure it has time to marry.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I have tanks right now that have 10 to 12, barrels in them, just mingling, just because seeing what they're doing and just kind of playing and just kind of taking. Like, I'm working on a pretty kick-ass MGP product right now where I have 4 or 5 and a little bit of 6-year-old, just because I want to see what it's going to do. And we're working with a private client on that, but I'm just excited to see what it's doing, because we're picking up some crazy MGP stuff. Yeah.
Very nice.
It's so crazy what the climate here has done to these barrels.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's kind of like that. I mean, that whole like Georgia heat, not probably the exact same as like Texas heat, but still obviously that heat element. I mean, like what Patrick was saying, like it gets, what'd you say, like 120, I think, degrees in that one room.
Our trailer this morning, Clinton and I took a flashlight on there this morning. As soon as we got there, we popped.
I don't think anybody knows. You can talk about the trailer. We're not hiding it, so talk about it.
Yeah, it's a 53-foot Walmart trailer that's metal that sits off the back of our warehouse. Clinton and I opened the door this morning, and the ethanol about punched you in the face. And we just walked the trailer with a flashlight. It was 89.9 at 7 a.m. and it was 83% humidity on that. And all the barrels, they're all leaking in there, which good. It's so hot. Yeah. They're so pressurized. Clinton pops the bung on one of them, and it sounded like a firework went off. It just.
Are you sure that wasn't the testing facility next door?
No, it was definitely us. So we're actually running a pretty cool experiment. This was all ran by legal and everything else before we did this. Okay. So we have so we're not breaking any violations. I know we're live. No. We have a 53-foot semi tractor trailer truck off the back of our dock. It's legally touching, so it's an oven, so it's legally bonded. So we
love it.
We're experimenting, basically. Just think like Coy Hill level heat right now in Georgia, where we've put some barrels from anywhere from 3 years all the way up to 10-year-old bourbon on there right now. Some finished, some straight, some just letting it do its thing. Yeah, and we're just experimenting with heat, and it's pretty dang crazy when you walk in and you touch these barrels, and you're like, these barrels are hot to the touch. And so we're gonna see. And I have some of this hazmat stuff that you have in front of you. I have a few of those barrels that were good. They're 142 proof, good. But we'll see what they'll do. After 40 days after all
that heat. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I think that was
Troy,
I think that was a movie, 40 Days in a Trailer, but I don't know.
I don't know if I saw that one, but
Yeah,
different website.
different website. Troy, you're right, man. Really informative, and I love the creativity that the guys are bringing. I love all the different blends and so forth. Terrence had a really good question, and I think you guys were talking about this earlier. The 15-year. He said, if you can talk a little bit more about the 15-year offering that happened a while ago.
we are no under NDA. We can, but we're good.
This is the funniest product that we've had. This was our second release that we ever made. It was a 15-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. This is 3 years old. And the market, I feel like, has just now sparked interest and caught on to this product. So if you go back 3 years, there was a bunch of 15-year-old that was hitting the market. Mm-hmm. And what we found hilarious is, Clinton, Adam, and I, we sat at dinners with people who own distilleries. I'm not going to name names.
Yeah,
people
of course.
had these amazing stories of this new 15-year bourbon that had come out, and these barrels that, the light of God shined on, and they tasted them and they're like, these are amazing. Don't do anything to them. Like, we're going to bottle these as is. And I found these in the back of the warehouse. No one knew that they were there.
It was under the casket of the founder of bullshit University of something.
And it's 15-year Jim Beam. It's just that's what it is. It's delicious. Okay. It's good. Yeah.
Sure.
They're all, this is 115.4, I believe, is approved on this release.
114.7.
114.7. There you go. It's
by the way, I only know that because I'm staring at it.
Yeah, it's a 15-year-old Beam product. A lot of it hit the market at the same time.
Okay.
And the craziest part of these barrels and this source is Clinton and I stumbled on this in his basement one night. To his right is we were opening up a Mitchers 20 from that year, and we drank it, and we both stopped and looked at each other, and we were like, grab our 15-year, and we tasted that right alongside the M20. And I will go to my grave and tell everyone it is the exact same source with 5 extra years on it. It is crazy.
Really?
It is
the same. That's what it tastes like, really.
So it's also 114.7 proof.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
We can never.
My asterisk here is this is not M20 of 2012.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We cannot prove anything. We cannot.
I'm with you. It's all just theories. I'm with you.
Jason Spath, it was all north-facing wood is the direction that the
Jason's a buddy of ours, happened to be at that dinner, so we'll see about that. But no, it's pretty crazy. I actually keep a little bit in here to any friends that are coming here. Taste the 15, taste this, and it's just like, wow. Well, there we go. But
the similarities.
One thing for us, you got to remember we were whiskey nerds first.
Yeah, you guys really picked, what was it? Like, what'd you say, 500 barrels?
But it's not just that. I mean, I went
crazy.
I went very deep in the collecting rabbit hole, and Clinton was pretty deep as well. And we really one of the things I still am a huge Willett fan.
Oh, you are? Okay.
And one of the games was, where's this barrel from? Right. And
gotcha.
My all-time favorites are the Bernheim Rise and Wheats that Willett did, the old Bernheim Rise and Wheats, and those are my favorite whiskeys really ever put in glass, aside from Old Stitzel. And we made an agreement, the three of us as friends and partners, that too much of life is full of bullshit.
True.
And we won't be part of that. And so if we can't share with you where it came from, we're not going to buy the barrels, and we won't put it in glass.
I love it.
And so what we promise our anybody who buys our product is we will tell you everything you want to know, probably too much.
That's okay. And that's good.
That's where we've come from. So, if you want to know what's in it, all you got to do is ask or read the label, and we'll tell you, because there's so many amazing stories, and there is such good marketing. And at the end of the day, we don't have that kind of time or money, so we're just going to be honest and hope people like it.
I love that. No, that's awesome. That is awesome. No, I mean, I love the fact that you guys are very transparent, right? I think there's enough just bullshit in this world, first and foremost. So it's good that you guys are very transparent. forget who it was earlier, but someone dropped a comment about, because you just mentioned, Adam, about you guys just ask and we'll tell you. And someone dropped a comment earlier about, hey, I reached out to Clinton and he like got back to me like, instantly. That doesn't normally happen with a lot of brands. So that's kudos to Clinton and to all of you guys.
I am way too easy to get a hold of. That's the issue.
That's cool. No, I like that.
So I actually run our social media and everything else, and I'm always ingrained in, we get a lot of fun questions. And my big thing as a marketer, and, I have a digital background, so digital is a little bit different than, interacting. But as a digital marketer, if you land on a website, I have about 2 seconds to capture your attention. So I have to be like quick, ready to go, and everything else. Yeah. And I've been the same way with, kind of responding. I know at some point it will slow down and everything else, but we get a lot of really cool questions, and we have a lot of really people that are, hey, I'm standing in a store, or hey, what is this? What is this? And I want to help you make a decision. We talk all the time. If you buy one bottle, great. 2 bottles, you're coming in the family, and 3 we have you hooked. So I don't want to leave your, first impression, especially as a small brand with a very small marketing budget, to your first impression of like they just left me on red, or they basically didn't even respond. Like that goes a long way in today's world.
It's not a chatbot. It's Clinton. Believe me. Yeah. I'll sit there.
We actually consistently tell him he needs to be a little less available just for the sake of his amazing wife and daughter.
Yeah, I'm probably in like 100+ Facebook groups at this point. You guys should see.
Oh my god!
You see me look down right now just because I'm getting notifications about.
Clinton's answering like my grandmother's questions on Facebook. Adam's mom will chime in, and Clinton's answering them before I even see him.
Yeah, that is true. But no,
what's funny about this maple vanilla finish? I went into it thinking it was going to be extremely sweet, and it's not. It's not at all. So it's like it's a great blend of sweet, but then also a little spicy too. I love that. This is actually really flipping good.
Yeah. It's like a lot of our stuff. I want to be a whiskey first, not a flavored whiskey, like not flavored first. I want to actually have a whiskey that's finished, not just, hey, I'm just in there chugging maple syrup or I'm chugging honey. Like a lot of times people will say,
listen, we all have our Super Troopers moment.
Well, it was interesting. I was talking to someone the other day, and it was actually a YouTube video, and I chimed in. I was listening to it. They're like we were just expecting a lot more honey, and I even described the way we do our honey. Our honey, while it's not filtered really on the line, there's no honey left in our barrels. We dump our honey. We work with restaurants, and we give our honey away and everything else too. Like we're barrel aging honey. We don't get it for free. Yeah. So what's ever left in our barrel, like what you're seeing in the glass, is kind of just coming out of the wood. And it's really cool. The maple's the same way. Even though we inherited those barrels, we end up filtering on the line because when we first tasted them, they were just way too sweet for us. Okay. It wasn't something we enjoyed. And, if you're spending, that bottle was $90 retail. When you're spending $90 on a bottle, we wanted to show our passion, not just kind of chase the hype around everything. So that's where that came from. That's a fun one.
I always tell people it's bourbon finished. It's bourbon finished in honey. It's bourbon finished in a maple vanilla cask. It's bourbon first, and it's bourbon forward. And we have things on a spectrum. Some are sweeter than others just based on the finish, but it's always bourbon finished something. So it doesn't taste artificial. Even our freaking lawn dart that we have, the number one feedback I get when people try it, it doesn't taste artificial. It doesn't taste like there's additives in it. Like, no, it's bourbon first, or it's vodka first.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's a good point. It is. And you can tell with both of these. Even though I had it before, I wanted to dip back into it real quick. Your honey finish, your maple vanilla, it is bourbon first. And that's not always the case with a lot of different finished whiskeys on the market. So kudos to you guys honestly getting it right, because that's really hard to do.
Well, I really want to see you try the Tasman.
Well,
that will be right before we end. But otherwise, you'll see me like down on the ground, like man down.
No, the biggest thing with finishes is they take time. Like, I'm not, 3. You can achieve a finish in as little as 3-4 months, depending on climate. But to do it right, like our honey comes out one time a year. Sometimes we find barrels so killer, and some come out pre-release. We actually just sent one to Florida. Melbourne, Florida is getting one. They came picked with us. And it was just kind of ready. They didn't even know they were getting offered honey that day. I'm like, hey, I got a killer barrel sitting here. Do you want to try it? I think they would have bought it without even trying it anyways. But it's just when barrels are ready, we'll let people try them. But I strive for, Beekeeper 4 has been in barrels since Beekeeper 3 was coming out. So
wow. Okay.
As soon as it comes out, we basically start filling barrels with honey. Kentucky's going to be a little probably later this year because we onboarded Kentucky a little bit later, but I did plan for that and put honey in barrel in February. So we'll kind of see where it goes. But, we're just having fun with it. And
That's awesome,
the honey's taken a mind of its own, which has been really cool. It's our most expensive product to date on the finishing side. So if we're going to put it out, it's 99 to 109 depending on the state, but it's definitely a labor of love, and it is messy.
Is it?
Well, that's a piece of it too. I mean, it is an absolute shit show to bottle.
Is it that bad?
Extraordinarily sticky. Yeah. So there's honey solids, and honey is hydrophobic, so it doesn't break down in water, and so we basically keep a large blender. So we dump the barrels into whatever our filling vessel is, and we continuously agitate it and cycle through as we bottle. And because it has raw honey in it, about every 150 bottles, we have to stop the line and take some grain neutral spirits and a rag
and clean it out.
Because if you think about it, the filler comes down on top of the bottle and hits here, fills, and then lifts out. It sticks to here.
Okay.
And then you'll see this thing where it like picks the bottle up and like starts to drop it.
Oh,
so
that sounds like
when people, because normally we're sub $100 unless something's over 10 or 12 years old, right?
Sure, yeah.
The honey people are like, it's a little expensive. I was like, you have no idea what it takes to make it. Yeah. It is extraordinarily time consuming.
I'm sure.
If Clinton and I ever have a falling out, it's because he wouldn't stop buying honey. I swear to God. He's with some new.
Y'all should have seen my credit card in Q4 and Q1. The honey.
Oh, I did. I paid the bills. It was brutal.
Yeah.
So my good friend Winslow from Texas, she used to be an ex-Delaware lady, but she decided to leave me and go back home to Texas. So she wants to know, what are some of your favorite products that you guys, I guess, like, let's call it pre-short barrel, right? Before it existed. I know Adam said he's a Willet guy. I remember that, but I don't think Patrick or Clinton ever said like what was like their palate pre let's call it pre
why don't you guys share like one of your all-time favorites?
I was going to say, I'm a
daily drinker is.
Yeah, what's your all-time favorites?
All-time favorites, I'd probably go with some Stitzel Weller OWA or OWO for sure. I'm a big Stag fan. I'm staring at my shelf right now. I have a love-hate relationship with Four Roses because when I first moved here, I went to a 10 recipe tasting and I tried all 10, and I didn't realize they were barrel proof, and I puked that night too. So Four Roses is my biggest fan, and then my favorite release of all years, regardless of what they do, I'm a big Parker's Heritage fan. I buy them every single year and I chase them every single year.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. I'm a sucker for, I don't know what they were doing pre-Fire Heaven Hill. Some of those releases are just crazy delicious. Cheesy Gold Foils, the Old Turkey and the Old National Old Granddad. Those just don't make sense to me, how they made something that was 100 proof, that dark, that good.
Yeah, that's a good point, Patrick.
Patrick and I are taste profile twins generally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the older, I mean, obviously Stitzel, like I could pick a handful.
Well, a couple weeks ago, we had a little celebration dinner because we hadn't really taken a minute to enjoy each other's company because we hadn't been in the same freaking state in 6 weeks, right? And we opened up a squat bottle Old Rip 15 Stitzel. Ooh. And I'd say that all three of us just went, damn, right then.
Yeah.
So I think we all love old weeders.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But Winslow asked about new.
I said old wieners. I'm not going to lie to you.
Old wiener.
I almost made a hot food joke and I decided not to. Anyway,
so
yeah.
I will say, so Jason Spaeth made another comment. He's smoking a cigar, drinking some bee's knees. The pre-fire, the being on this side of the fence, something that I marvel at and appreciate. It's the old pre-fire Heaven Hill at 90 proof. It's so dark and so crushable and so good. I don't know how they did it, how they kept the color that dark, especially at 90 proof. Everything on the shelf today pales in comparison to what that was. But to see something at 90 proof at those prices with that profile, I just want to know how they did it. Like, I just marvel at releases like that now. The high proof stuff, I get it. It's the 90 proofers that I marvel at.
I can't. I think we've kind of figured out how they at least extended those long finishing. That just comes to proofing. I think it was more they didn't proof it so quickly or anything else too. I think they just allowed it to actually like proof naturally from whatever down to like whatever
old oak.
And old oak, like it's just pretty crazy. I mean, I think all of our palettes are different. And I think we're come up here soon. I think you've heard us say lawn dart a lot. Let's talk about Old Fourth.
Yeah, let's talk about lawn dart. And thanks, by the way, CJP. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And yeah, definitely pour as much short barrel as you can, my friend. But yeah, so what is lawn dart? Because I don't see anything in front of me that says lawn dart. So
you're not going to see it. It's Adam. You talk about Old Fourth.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So we used to do our team meetings at my office for my regular business on Sunday mornings, and we were sitting in my office, we were kind of working through some challenges we were having. It was kind of a beat our heads against a wall meeting a little bit, which we had to not with each other, just with, all right, how fast are we going to grow this thing? What are we doing? The demand's growing, but at the same time, like we still have full-time jobs, all this stuff, right?
Sure. Yeah. You're busy.
When we had gone down a road to try and get some funding through, to grow the business, and it fell through, and it was a little soul crushing at the moment. And we were trying to figure out what direction do we want to go, right? Mm-hmm. And what's up, Seth Kenny? What's up, bud? And we're sitting in the office, and our friend Matt, who's the master distillery of modern art in Atlanta, who is just an absolute freaking genius with whiskey and rum whiskey and gin and vodka. And Matt goes, check your email. And so he texts me, and I checked the email, and it was a listing for a distillery for sale. We read through, and the guys come over behind the computer, and we're like, holy shit, this is Old Fourth.
Yeah.
And we're all big Old Fourth fans. I'm an Atlanta native. These guys have lived here for a while.
Okay.
And we picked one of the first Old Fourth single barrels ever. And so we looked through and realized they were for sale, and we kind of said, what if we bought it? And we all just kind of laughed, and we're like, with what? And we just said, well, what, we were like, wait, but what if we did? What if we could put a group of guys together and do a little debt and equity deal?
Yep.
Raise some cash and just pour gasoline on this thing. Mm-hmm. And so we went and met with the old owners and had a great connection with them. They're really good dudes. They're brothers, and they were just done. Working with families really hard. And I think they had hit their goals, and I think they had taken it as far as they wanted to take it, and had done a great job building the brand. And they had some higher offers, but all those offers were they wanted the barrels. They wanted to disassemble the company. Mm-hmm. And we made a commitment. If you'll sell to us, this is all we can afford, but we'll keep this thing going. And not only will we keep it growing, we'll grow it considerably. We'll make it a focus.
Okay.
And so Old Fourth, I'll tell you, man, clear spirits keep the lights on. Vodka and Jen have helped us be able to hire new people, helped us buy new barrels, helped us pay rent. And it's given us the opportunity. We bought some incredible MGP barrels that were aged their entire life in Georgia. Totally different animal than anything else. Like if you had asked me 3 years ago, would you reach? I was not generally a guy that reaches for MGP bourbon, because most of the brands that would use it would buy their barrels in Indiana, and they'd sit at MGP in the same environment as the rest of the MGP barrels until it was time to bottle them. And then they'd go to a mass co-packer and get bottled. And this wasn't my thing. It didn't bother me. I just didn't love it. And then we started popping some of these barrels down here in Atlanta. We're like, this is different. This is a different thing. And so one of the pieces of intellectual property that came with the Old Fourth purchase was a product called Lawn Dart. And Lawn Dart is a lemon ginger liqueur. It was 75 proof, and it was basically made from macerated lemons, vodka, ginger, and it was about $35 retail. The issue with it wasn't shelf stable, and it looked like it got real cloudy, and it was delicious. And we said we want to do this. Here, Patrick, you have an old dart.
Yep.
And so it is extremely hard to educate a customer that you have to shake a product before they can drink it.
So you got to shake it.
That's definitely a little bit of education.
Yeah. And because of the process that it took to produce it, even at $35, they lost money on it.
Oh shit!
It was a labor of love.
So it truly was
so
labor.
We hit a timeout on it. We sold out everything that was in the warehouse. We reformulated it. It took 6 months and about 10 different iterations. And new Lawn Dart was born. And it's a base of our sugarcane vodka. So it's gluten-free, grain-free, all-natural vodka with all-natural lemon and ginger extract, invert sugar, which is simple syrup, and a little bit of citric acid for tartness. And it is, I don't drink clear spirits. We went through 2 bottles at my house last night in an hour and a half with the people who went to a concert. It is the drink of the summer. It's 67 proof. Retailing it's $19.99. A lot of stores who get it in case deals are selling it for $16 to $18.
It is coming online. It's coming online.
It's coming online. I think it got to our online retailer today. And so it'll be online by next week. We'll have some free shipping with Judge for anything. But it's $20. And
That's
it's
awesome.
My only piece of advice is it's best served cold. And so the name is because it is, lawn darts were outlawed because they're so dangerous.
Yeah.
This shit's dangerous. It is crazy easy to drink. My favorite recipe is you drink your Topo Chico or your Fever Tree down to about here. And then you just fill it with Lawn Dart. You give it one of these.
Little shake.
And that's your drink. That's the drink of the summer right there.
It's idiot proof.
Man.
It's been crazy. People are like running to Publix or grocery stores and they're just getting like the 20-ounce iced teas or lemonades, dumping or drinking 4 to 5 ounces, throwing Dart in it, throwing it in their cooler, and like it's their pool drinks. Like it's taken a mind of its own. And it's been really cool here in Atlanta, and it's starting to like kind of spread. The bourbon groups have picked it up, which has been wild for us. So like all of our bourbon friends here in Atlanta, they thought we were like kidding. I'm like, just try it. Like seriously, just try it. Like we're not saying because it's ours and whatever else. We're really excited about it.
It's just really good.
But now we have friends that are just like they're waiting for stores to restock. The stores are selling out like crazy. Like I got my restock. Like they're buying it like it's some allocated limited product. Like hey guys, it's not going anywhere. But it's been so crazy. It's barely made it out of Atlanta. Our distributor is just selling like 70, 80 to 100 cases a week of it, and it's been wild.
Wow, goodness gracious. But it sounds like the perfect drink though for the summer. I mean, you're hanging out by the pool. It's hot out. You're just kind of sitting back, relaxing. That sounds amazing. So, Terrence, hey, online, like literally ASAP.
Hey, don't forget, our amazing degenerate. Exuberant bourbon friends did have the idea of double dart.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Or as Josh Levitan called it, lawn torpedo.
Lawn torpedo.
Yeah. So we have samples of 134 proof Lawn Dart in our distillery right now. So
oh my god.
So the VW bourbon guy, WV bourbon guy.
That you nailed it.
We didn't make this only for women, but the thought process, that we went through creating this product when we reformulated this was we wanted something. The bourbon guys show up to our warehouse. And we had clear spirits, vodka, and gin, but we wanted another reason for people to bring their wives and their girlfriends when they show up. There's something to buy for them. And it's the easiest sell. So like I'm doing promos this week. Lawn Dart's $17.76. We're going $17.76 for the week of the 4th of July on Lawn Dart. SRP is $19.99. But if they come to a single barrel, it's usually $80 for a single barrel, $20 for Lawn Dart. It's $100 out the door. Something for him, something for her.
Perfect combo.
The problem is him usually drinks the entire bottle of Lawn Dart before her gets to try it and has to come back and get a case.
Yeah.
It's hilarious how it works. We had so many women come in and help folks formulate this because we were gearing this product more towards women. And the flavor profile went in a direction that Adam Clinton and I probably wouldn't have taken this in, but we needed someone who wasn't us to come in and help us with this. But the rate that
in our defense, it was February.
True.
We were drinking girl-proof bourbon every day.
So true. Indeed.
The rate
time to change it up a little bit.
Pick this up has been hilarious. In fact, like in my own house, Elise and I, like my wife and I, have a cocktail probably, once a night on the weeks now. She'll get a Lawn Dart and some Fever Tree, or a Lawn Dart and Topo Chico. And our pool, if you ever go to our pool of Mill Glen down the street, someone's drinking Lawn Dart there. It never fails.
That's awesome.
It's been cool for us, as a bourbon company that inherited vodka and gin, and we've changed those recipes and kind of worked with pros. But it's been cool to have a completely different product that when you're thinking about bourbon, but also have a shootable product. There aren't too many craft distilleries that can walk into an Athens, Georgia college bar, or walk into college bars and compete with, let's just say Fireballs and all these other artificial flavored stuff of the world. And you're not drinking artificial. One thing that I say a lot is, as we were doing this, I don't want to drink artificial stuff. Like, I'm kind of a purist. We're drinking bourbon all day long. Correct. We made sure this wasn't that. Even when it came to coloring, like we had a lot of coloring samples on our stuff too. And it's like, then we need to add yellow number 5 and all those other things labeled. We're like, screw this. It's going clear and everything else. Yeah. And it's been pretty cool. It's been, as we say, the summer of Dart, and it's been wild. Old Fourth has been cool for us too. If anybody follows me or Adam or Patrick, probably on our personal social medias, and if you come through Atlanta, we're opening an Atlanta airport tasting room. Terminal E next year, restaurant, kitchen, live entertainment. We're not personally opening it. We're working with a group that's helping us do it called Areas. But Atlanta and travelers are going to be exposed very quickly, kind of the passion that we're bringing to the whiskey space. So we're super excited to get that open next year.
That's awesome. So I have a quick question about Old Fourth, right? So as you guys mentioned earlier, you guys obviously have a shitload of whiskey, right, from multiple different distilleries. Now that you own your own distillery, how does that work in terms of like what you're putting out? Like, is it always going to still be like a blend of, all the stuff that you already have that's aging, plus like the Old Fourth stuff and whatever you're making right now? Or is it your goal to eventually kind of transition to end up being eventually 100% everything that was either stored with Old Fourth plus whatever else you're distilling as well? What's the strategy?
So to be clear, we don't have an active still.
Okay.
We are going to maintain our status as a non-distilling producer.
Okay.
But with our own recipes, our own custom mash bills, and a continuous supply of aging barrels. Okay. And so we want our core product for Short Barrel. I'm going to talk about our core products real quick.
Yeah.
For Short Barrel, we have 2 core products. Rye 101, which is 101 proof MGP non-chill filtered rye whiskey. It's usually about 6 to 7 years old.
Okay.
And then our Toasted 94 proof, which is a blend of Kentucky bourbons at 94 proof. And with that bourbon, we take it from barrel proof. We blend about 12 barrels at a time, bring it down to 104, slowly let it mingle, and then put it back into new toasted oak for at least 6 months. All right. When it's ready, we blend it back into big tanks and slowly proof it down to 94. Those are our 2 core products. Those are going to maintain. Now, eventually, that product will all be our own custom distillate, but it's going to be a while. It'll be a blend to start, but we're going to use the same mash bill. And then,
other than Old Fourth, we have changed that.
Well, and then on Old Fourth,
historically,
we started distilling, contract distilling here in Atlanta with some friends, where it's going to be a total Georgia product. It was 75 21.4 MGP. It is now 70 25.5 Georgia distilled with Georgia corn and done in level 4 char, medium plus toast with toasted head Kelvin barrels. Yeah. And so we tasted that whiskey when it was 3 to 6 months old, and it tasted 2 to 3 years old. So we're really excited to see what happens over the next few years. Old Fourth bottled and bond in just under 3 years will be 100% a Georgia product. Now, we will continue to, as we find great lots of barrels, we will buy them.
Okay.
And we will utilize them in limited offerings and in single barrel programs.
Got it. Okay. That's very helpful. Thank you for the overview there, Adam. Really helpful. Extremely helpful.
94 proof toasted.
94 toasted.
94 toasted.
Or Rye 101.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Yeah. So Rye 101 sits on my bar at home with a fast pour on it. Every cocktail, every old fashioned, every Manhattan is Rye 101. As Patrick told you, I'm a rye evangelist.
That 94 toasted to Winslow, it's amazing. Honestly, I had it. To me, one thing what I loved about it is that when you hear 94 proof, you sometimes people think it's not going to be well rounded. That is an exceptionally great pour, and it's really, really well rounded. Honestly, it's something that I would sip the entire night, right? Not just the beginning of the night, but all throughout the night. So I would vote. I haven't had the 101 toasted. I don't believe the 101, but this 94 proof toasted is amazing, Winslow. So
it's funny to say. So we were bottling we were trying to figure out the new right proof for our toasted, and we were bottling, and we did a custom bottling for a charity. And we brought the 94 proof down really slowly. And we brought the toasted down to 94. And our friend Jason Spaeth, who commented here a minute ago, he can drink 140 proof and not flinch. And then our other friend David,
God bless him,
puts a splash of water on some rocks with some Basil Haydens, which is 80 to start with. And we had a bottle and we passed it around. Everybody just took a pull, and everybody just goes, "Damn!" And like, all right, guess we have our new toasted product, and that was it.
Love it. I love it.
When people come in the warehouse, I tell them daily, we will distill, contract distill everything for our core products. And I want those to be very consistent. We kind of have that down to a science, profiles that we love. But our single barrel program and the unique blends that we do and the LTOs that we have, we're going to be buying some crazy stuff, whatever's available on the market. We always keep a pool of cash aside to, take down some barrels we find interesting. And there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. Probably if you were to quiz this, Adam Clinton, I'm speaking for them, but one of my favorite picks is Four Roses.
Okay.
If you go taste all 10 mash bills, that's something very non-standard than what sits on the shelf. And that's why I tell people when they come in, you're not just getting an elevated core product when you come in. You're not just tasting a really good 94 proof toasted barrel. Here's your single barrel.
Correct.
This is something unique. This is something different. Eventually this is going to run out. People are going to remember the old 12-year rise that ShortBarrel had in the 130 proofs. I won't say where we're trying to get some barrels from now, but it's looking like it's on the up and up from here. But there's always going to be some crazy stuff out there. There's always going to be something that we taste that intrigues us. And as people begin to trust us in our profiles, even if it's not crazy age stated, they're going to come in and try the 5 and 6 year old Kentucky ryes that we put out there because they're very unique to the market. They're going to try a 4 to 10 year old blend that we're doing. They're going to trust us when it comes to these cigar blends that we're doing. And it's liquid to lips.
Yep, I'm with you. So the cool thing is, though, which I was wondering this, but it sounds like you guys, I think Adam answered this question. You did as well, Patrick. So it sounds like in the future, though, both brands will still exist. ShortBarrel will still be
100%.
ShortBarrel, and Old Fourth will still be Old Fourth. Like neither one is going away just because you bought the distillery. They're still going to be separate brands.
And Lawn Dart will stand on its own.
Yeah, ShortBarrel will kind of be its boutique brand. I think it's catching some fire. We're really excited about kind of where it's going. I hate to use the term budget-friendly stuff with Old Fourth, but we've purposely brought pricing down on Old Fourth. Like we have a rye that's $29.99. Our bottle and bond's $49.99. Our vodka and gin are very price conscious too. We've just seen the market shift, and one thing that I think we pride on too is we bought barrels early on. So when we bought barrels at 2 and 3 year old, well, those barrels are now turning 5, 6, almost 7 years old too. And we can maintain those pricing. I'm still seeing NDPs taking their pricing up, still chasing barrels and everything else. Yeah. Where we don't have to.
Full transparency, we're a few bucks more in Kentucky.
It depends on taxes.
Because of taxes and shipping.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Steve, I guess you can allocate all of your bourbon budget to ShortBarrel. I guess you can do that.
Bring it on, Steve.
Bring it on.
You do.
That's awesome.
I want to say to everybody on here, if you're ever in Atlanta, stop by. We love it when people come by.
You're going to see Patrick and I. If Adam's there on Tuesdays, you'll see us. Like I think it's one thing most people when they stop by. And I think right now we've probably had at least people from 30 different states stop in. They're always surprised that it's Patrick or I greeting you when you walk in. It's not just our team, unless we're in the field. But we make it our every day to we'll stop what we're doing. Even if we're in a meeting, we'll still, hey, hello, thank you for coming in, Patrick Clinton. Very nice to meet you. Hey, we're in a meeting, but we really make sure we welcome you into our family of kind of what we're doing down here.
Well, and we have a great team too. Gabe and Sam run the warehouse. Sam and I have been friends for a while. He is just like he's a ball of joy and a beacon of hospitality. And then Amanda runs our on-prem sales team. Wes is up in Tennessee and Kentucky doing everything. And then Drew handles our retail sales. And so people don't realize this. We have 7 total paid employees.
Awesome. Very nice. That's awesome. No, that's great. I mean, it sounds like you guys are obviously with Old Fourth, you've obviously expanded. You have obviously more people than just the 3 of you, which I think is great. I'm excited myself as kind of getting down to Atlanta and doing the barrel pick. And thanks again, Clinton, for kind of making.
Are you bringing the misses with you?
TBD. I try to bring Mrs. Judge as much as possible. So sometimes she prefers for me just to get out of the house. I mean, sometimes she's like, all right, I'll make the trip with you. So I think she's still kind of figuring that whole part out right now.
Yeah, well, definitely.
When's y'all's barrel pick?
October.
Oh, good. It's in the fall.
Yeah, it's in the fall. Yeah, I forget the exact date, but late in October. So I know
Adam,
Rob,
don't we have some barrels that have a birthday in October?
Yeah, we do. And Adam, we're actually coming to your house too. I haven't told you that yet.
Oh, cool.
Believe me, that pick is no time soon. That warehouse is gnarly now.
It's fucking miserable. Pardon my language.
Is it really? All right. Patrick talked about frying an egg in there, so I mean, it does sound pretty miserable. So I'll take late October.
We're making people weigh in and out at the beginning and end of the day.
October.
That means I can lose like 5 pounds just by doing a barrel pick. That's not a bad gig, actually. Maybe I should come right now and do a barrel pick.
I'm down about 10, and that's just from just being in our warehouse. Like, it's pretty
Sam's
wild.
drinking what, 2 gallons of water a day?
Easily.
Dang, wow, that's crazy. So what are so when we do a barrel pick, right? Not just myself, but just in general, honestly, are there multiple different options that you have to pick from, or is it just
the record right now is 17 barrels open during one pick.
Holy shit! Wow, that's a lot. Okay.
All right. If anybody knows TJ, aka Bruzel, you've seen that.
Yeah.
I refused to watch the video this first pick because my wife had to come pick me up that day. So that was a gauntlet of the day. We've kind of backed off since then, but you're at least going to have 8 killer barrels laid out for you. It's usually a pretty tough choice. We want people we still take very good pride in our single barrel programs. We do most of the barrel picks before anybody comes in. So when someone comes in, they're getting nothing but basically heaters when they walk in.
That's awesome. I love it. Thank you. We appreciate it. 8 is a great number. 17 is a lot. That's even more than just an Uber. That's
my personal record when I was tasting barrels for the Short Barrel group was 27 in one day.
27?
Don't do it.
At one location.
Jeez, goodness gracious. Okay, that's a lot.
We are veterans.
You guys
Eddie Russell has pictures of me having almost fallen through the floor of the Rick House at Welter.
Please Uber. Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely Ubering for sure. Definitely Ubering. And hey, real quick, I have a question because I had this. I'm like, damn, this is amazing, and I could sip this finish this now. What is this El Jefe?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Delicious, man.
It's either you love it or hate it. So
I love it.
I sent you El Jefe Trace. So it's 3 different barrels. So it is a 9-year-old American whiskey from Jim Beam, finished in a mezcal barrel for 3 years. It is a 6-year-old MGP 21% rye, finished in a Sotal barrel for 2 years, and then a 6-year-old MGP finished in a tequila barrels for 2 years, all blended in-house by me.
Really? A tequila finish?
Yeah, so it's 3. You basically have three different. Patrick has the bottle in front of him, so it's part of our new label. But that's kind of what you're drinking. So you either love or hate tequila, and that's kind of what you're getting. So that thing's crazy.
Wow, that's funny because I'm not a big tequila fan, but I love this. This is an excellent pour. Oh my gosh!
If you pull up our new labels on the side, it'll detail out what's in the blend.
And that 126.6 proof.
Yeah,
and 126 proof too.
Yeah, hey, we're getting a lot of questions about shipping on sites and stuff too. Shipping is a little delayed right now due to heat, so you'll see big restocks on our site in the fall.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, we're getting complaints with corks popping and everything else. It's just it's tough right now, so you'll see major drops in the fall from us.
Ooh. This El Jefe is so good. This might be the winner so far of the night. And I'm not a tequila guy. That's the crazy thing about it.
So that's one of those blends we were talking about earlier where I've learned to layer into different barrels. So I did this one differently. I put the American whiskey in a tank first, and I put all the bourbon finish in second. Okay. And then I start layering the bourbon into the American whiskey. There's a batch 2 behind it that I layered the American whiskey into the bourbon. So I learned a lot with this release, actually.
That's awesome.
But it's the third one we've done. The first one was 111 proof. It spent roughly about a year in mezcal barrels. It wasn't blended. It was blended. It wasn't long enough. Last year's was a 123 proof mezcal finish, which was pretty cool. It was just straight up mezcal. And this year was the Trace. Since we had those MGP barrels from Old Fourth, I blended them as it had a cool 3 different finishes blending in our third release. So Trace was a pretty fun release this year. I think we're done with it after this year. It's one of those really fun ones, but it's super hard to scale that finish as much as we love it. We'll probably lean harder into the cigar release next year in the spring rather than trying to drop 2 kind of limited products back to back.
Makes sense. Yeah, Rob, it sounds like obviously these guys are very transparent, which I think is awesome, as Patrick was showing on the label, which is really cool. That is really
cool. Yeah, we have batch 1 and 2 of LFA Trace at the distillery right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is a hitter. Damn, that's so good.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, so I'm glad you love it, because that's one of those ones where I've watched several people, and it's funny. They'll drink it. I don't like it. Well, do you like tequila? Well, no. I'm like, well, of course you're not going to enjoy it. Like, it's not one of the.
It hurts when I do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's a fun one, and I think we shock people on that price too. That's a $64 bottle on our side. So you have so it's pretty wild.
It's very reasonable. Very reasonable. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. All right, so I guess I got to try the single barrel before I get to the hazmat before we wrap up. I told Adam I'm going to keep you guys not too long. So
what?
I love looking at the hazmat. You can have hazmat on the table for
one of these things is not like the other.
So the single barrel, did I send you the 130 proof?
Yes, you did. Yes, sir.
Father's Day release. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, really?
I'll be right back, guys.
All right,
Patrick, that's that 130 proofer that OZ Tyler.
I love that one.
So that's that OZ Tyler pre-Green River that people have kind of freaked out, part of our single barrel program. So that's nearly 7 years, about to turn 7 here soon.
Okay.
We've won a lot of awards for our single barrel program. They've all been around this OZ Tyler. We won double gold in San Francisco, double gold in New York, and then in New York we won Kentucky Single Barrel of the Year for one of those OZ Tylers. And they're it is a wild Kentucky bourbon.
I tell people,
and no finish on this at all. No finish.
No finish at all. No finish. Pure Georgia heat.
We've been accused of finishing one of these OZ barrels, but they are not finished. So I tell people, when we buy 100 of these OZ bourbons, these older ones, 30 of them just taste like you're chewing an oak tree. They taste like they're 25-year-old bourbon. They're just over oak. They're terrible. We got to figure out what to do with these. 30 of them are Barrel of the Year contestants. It's such a wild ride with these OZs, but they have this cherry cokeness. They have this. So when we got these barrels, they pretty much topped out about 123 to 124 proof. Since they've been in the warehouse, a lot of these are now up in the 130s. And they're 7+ years old. But people come in all the time. Can I get some of the OZ? Can I have some of that OZ lot? It's just a very known quantity in our warehouse. It's just the funkiness with these. The finish. If you ever have some of our single barrels, Adam, Clinton, and I, our palates might vary, but we're very consistent on one thing. We want that long finish that just lingers and rolls. And a lot of these OZs just deliver from top to bottom.
On the OZ rye, they're wild. I've never tasted a rye whiskey.
Yeah.
It has like a really unique sweetness to it. I mean, even the nose, I was kind of picking up. I was like, I wonder if this is like a almost like a rum finish in a way. But it's funny, you guys said there's no finish on this. This is like
no finish. It tasted like strawberry jam to me.
Yeah, it's very, very sweet.
Well, that's the rye you're talking. He has an OZ bourbon. He has an OZ bourbon, not a.
Yeah, OZ bourbon. Yeah, this is nice. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really get it, but there's a lot of stores, or a lot of whiskey reviewers, and people in Atlanta and beyond that say these are basically the alternative Stag Junior when you can't find Stag Junior. We understand the kind of cherry cola and stuff you get, but it's been pretty cool to get that designation.
So there's a store here in town. So Grapes and Grains famously picked a couple of higher proof OZs that are now in folklore around here. I wish I would have kept some of them, but I mean, there were 129 proof high 129s that drank that, it's like sub 120s.
Okay.
But it was just that classic OZ profile. deep, dark stone fruits, cherry colonists to it, a finish that just linger on.
Yeah.
Forever.
And if you're not familiar with OZ Tyler, there's probably a lot of people that might not be. What these were, if you go back and read on the pre-Green River takeover OZ Tyler, a lot of these barrels were where they tried to get kind of funky with aging barrels, where they were not doing anything different. They thought they could hyper age barrels that were, new make and make them taste like 2 and 2 to taste like they were 6. Well, it kind of failed. So a lot of them got dumped into the broker market and we bought them. And these 6-year-old, 7-year-old stuff are drinking, I've had them next to 10 years. I mean, crap, I've had one next to an older stag, and it's hard to tell the difference on some of them, which is just wild.
Yeah. Here's a good question from Don. I think this is actually a good point. And thanks for that explanation as well, by the way, Clinton. I appreciate that. If you stop by like your local, like you're at the distillery and so forth, are you able to grab bottles? Like the El
we have
this.
So we have a whole bottle shop up front, kind of gift shop area where we have merch, swag, like everything else. And then we have distillery only releases, much like a lot of the others, in our space when we do single barrels. If the case isn't full, so say there's 3 bottles or 5 bottles and doesn't have 6, we hold them back and put them on our shelf because we can't legally sell those. So you walk into our gift shop and you'll be greeted by no less than 20 different store picks right now, some distillery only stuff. Some stuff we've worked on. We had a batch last year. We had a bunch of Booker's barrels. So I did a small little blend of what we called our Bookkeeper, which is my take on Booker's. That was a distillery only. So we're always doing fun stuff there.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, Don, East Coast stuff. So this was an allocated product here in the state of Georgia. So Empire does a good job, our distributor on that side of the house, of getting the product out in the market. A lot of stores will just call their top customers and it's gone before we know it. So we do tell people, go shop at your local store. That helps everybody involved. But if you can't find it there, we usually have some bottles at the bottle shop up front. A lot of times what we'll try to do is before we do an annual release, whether it's LFA or honey, we'll try to launch it at the warehouse so people can come try it before they buy it. And we're very big with that. Come try it before you buy it, whether it's a $60 bottle or a $109 honey bottle. I want you to try it before you buy it. So we're all bought in. You've tried it. You're signing off on it. You enjoy it. But a lot of times, if you can't find it at our distillery, one of our local partners has it. East Cobb's tough. Sprayberry got theirs. That went right out the door. I think Whitlock got some. That Marietta East Cobb's tough a lot of times because there's so many bourbon drinkers in that area, and they just flock to the same stores.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Completely makes sense. Completely makes sense. Duke, that those OZs are amazing. That was a very unique pour. That was really, really good. I'm scared of this hazmat. I'm like, I know we got to wrap up because I promised Adam. I told Adam I won't keep him too long, but I'm scared of this hazmat. It's scaring me. So all right, so I'm gonna let Mrs. Judge queue up all the different. Then we're gonna do 3 different winners. So we have swag, which we got, of course, obviously from ShortBarrel, and thank you, by the way, ShortBarrel, for sending over the swag. I'm going to include a Glen for each winner as well, in addition to it. But I guess I need to go ahead and pour this hazmat. Oh crap! This which friend of yours? Which friend of yours did you say could drink like 140 proof like all day? And
Jason Smith.
Well, that guy is a good man. God bless him.
Oh, he is.
He really is.
What's the highest proof whiskey you've had in your life?
142. My Coy Hill 142. So this is.
We are taking
144.
Yeah, we are taking it. We are taking it from you then.
Oh man, I'm scared.
don't be scared. That color is violent, though.
Jason, do you remember if Jason's still on trying those European Bourbon Rye Association 148 proof at my house?
148 proof? Oh my gosh, that just sounds like
Free Fire Heaven Hill. That's darker than motor oil.
So what you're drinking, what you're about to drink, is 100% distilled at MGP, but has spent every ounce of its waking moment in a barrel in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. Oh wow. Every second. Okay.
Every second.
It was actually barreled in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was toted down as White Dog in totes and then barreled in Atlanta for some reason.
Oh wow. Okay.
Barrels at 125.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That's pretty cool.
No, the entry was actually 120 on those, so it's come up.
Oh, it's 120. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Here we go. Yeah, I'll definitely sleep well. Mrs. Judge said he's going to sleep well tonight. Yeah, I'll definitely sleep well for sure. With 144 proof. All right, Short Barrel takes down the judge.
You've had a lot of whiskey in front of you, so I'm pretty impressed right now with you too. So
yeah, I can typically hold my own, but I don't know. 144 is a lot though. That's a lot, Clinton. This is it's a big one for sure.
I promise you, it's not as violent on the palate as you're gonna imagine. It doesn't have that Coy Hill third punch. I can promise you.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Yeah. I have a question for you guys, but I'm gonna let Mrs. Judge pick our first winner. So, Mrs. Judge, can you let us know who is the first winner of Short Barrel Swag with addition a Bourbon Judge Glen? If you can give us a name. Give us a name, Mrs. Judge. Let's see who we have here. I think she's probably just doing the spinner. All right. While she's doing the spinner, I'll let her take care of that. So what's up and coming for Short Barrel? What are you guys working on that everyone should be like, maybe looking out for or maybe interested to kind of know?
How much time do we have?
As much as you need.
I'm optimistic for the fall. I don't think you're getting anything too, toasted. We've expanded our toasted line. There'll be a toasted rye. We're working on multiple different honey finishes right now, kind of deviating from the standards. I have Booker's barrels that we didn't actually think were good enough to be single barrels. I did a crazy Booker's blend and then put those in honey barrels. So there's a Booker's honey coming.
Okay.
Which should be pretty cool. There's blueberry, cranberry, raspberry, honey. I guess we're entering Taterland there at that point.
Not flavored, by the way. These are from those bushes.
Yeah, the
pollinators. You were pollinating those bushes. It was not flavored.
Yeah, I would say the biggest project that I'm most excited right now is probably some of these wine finishes. The deep Napa cabs. We partner with some really cool Napa wineries. So Del Dotto, Myriad Wines, Mike Smith, who is on that side, I think he just crossed over 3,000 pointers. So we have some of their barrels. Probably most excited about that. And we're gonna find out. Like, I'm purposely not drinking anything right now coming out of the barrels until September or late August because I want them to spend some time. But you're gonna see some really cool double oak projects. Probably
double oak toasted barrel proof rye.
Yeah, so there's just gonna be a lot. I would say definitely if you guys aren't following us on social media, follow us. We're probably gonna have a lot of distillery days, some that probably won't make it to distribution, but we'll hit our websites and other things too.
That's awesome. No, congrats. And thanks for the updates. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much. So it looks like our first winner is CJP Bourbon. So CJP, congrats, my friend. We'll reach out to me on just, obviously on my website or whatever, Instagram, and I'll make sure I get your address. Let's do the second winner. And I guess I need to man up. And while Mrs. Judge is doing the second winner, I need to man up and go ahead and take a pour of this, or a sip of this rather.
You'll be all right.
That's really good.
It's really good.
Whew. That's good.
Oh,
that's
hot.
not though. It's hot, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
that's not that bad. That's actually really good though.
We'll have to put the hydrometer in the warehouse.
It's gonna keep lingering too.
Yeah, it does. Shit, that's good.
So we're gonna exclusively bottle all hazmats for everybody watching this year. We're going to exclusively bottle all of our hazmats so we can get in a lot of hands. We're going to do 375s this year for everything on hazmats.
Oh, I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The 375, that way it kind of, expands out to more people, give more people access to it.
More affordable. Yeah.
More affordable. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's our plan. Like we look, love it or hate the secondary market. The secondary market can make brands. We've had some stuff on there and we pay attention to it. But the last thing I want is us to put a lot of time and effort in hazmat, and all these 750s get flipped. So 375s will probably flip too, but we're trying to make sure everybody that wants one's actually can actually get one.
Absolutely, no, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Bourbon taster, congratulations, man! You are the second winner of it. Wow, that's still going down. Holy shit, that's really going down.
So Jason, who's on here, was actually part of an entire barrel pick where they came in to pick. It was an entire hazmat lineup. So experienced bourbon drinkers, it had to have happened before, but I don't know when.
Jason was there. Duke was there. There was a couple of guys.
Duke was there.
So if anybody's on Facebook, we didn't set it up. So make sure it's out there. There's a big Facebook Short Barrel fans group.
Yeah.
If you're out there, join
Oh, that's
that.
cool.
Like we post a lot, but some of our friends set it up. It's like 700 members or something in there right now too. So that group was able to come in and do their first ever, our first ever hazmat pick. We rolled out 4 barrels of all pure hazmat for a barrel pick, which was pretty crazy.
Wow.
I think
so they
one of them
end up
got down to
picking
139
all
last.
like just only from hazmat barrels only.
That's it. Only hazmat barrels.
Shit. Oh, good for them.
Yeah, we made sure we had some lunch and everything else, and everybody Ubered and everybody had fun. But it was a fun one.
That's great. No, I mean, I trust me. I'm a barrel proof guy, day in day out. But all hazmat as like a barrel proof, I mean, or a barrel pick selection. That's pretty. That's intense.
Yeah, we don't know if it's ever been done. I'm sure it's been done somewhere behind the scenes, but we've never really heard about where a single barrel was only picked at hazmat. Like I think the lowest proof the day was nearly 140, and we went all the way up to 144. You know, like the highest I've seen right now is 145.2. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Couple
When did
guys
that
left,
happen?
That's in the truck right now.
a couple guys left the pick and went golfing, so I'm curious to see how that round of golf went.
Did they really?
Oh,
Oh gosh, they had a ton of mulligans. I'm telling you, they had a ton of mulligans, easily. All right, this is actually amazing. This is really. I'm going to leave a little bit just to
The
share
color,
with
the
some-
color, the
some
color
friends.
just blows my mind because I remember when I sent that, I'm like, dang, you could tell from a mile away when I.
Yeah,
when
I
I
mean,
sent
even
it.
like compared to like I don't know, even like the single barrel, which is also 130 proof. I mean, look at that on camera. I mean, this is like
It
this is like
basically
motor
just
oil.
aged in heat cycles. There's a really cool barrel available online. Keep an eye out. Clinton will post something on our social media. There's a ruby port finish that we did for Reserve Bar. There's a few bottles left. We have a coupon for.
Okay.
It's that color got me thinking about it. Clinton, there's still some of that left.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm actually gonna post that. It's on my list to do. I'm actually gonna post that on our Short Barrel website. It'll take you to a Reserve Bar, but
Okay.
it will. But it's probably one of the best finishing barrels I've ever had.
It's insane.
Oh wow. Oh, very nice. So I know that you said earlier, Clinton, that you're working on a ton of different like wine finishes now. Other than that ruby port, are there a ton of other like wine finishes that you guys have done in the past, or is this like a new kind of like a path forward, if you will, from a finishing perspective?
No, so we have what, guys? We have what? What other ports? We have Tawny
Ports and sherries.
Ports and sherries.
We've done fortified wines. We've only done one actual wine finish for
Okay.
this awesome restaurant group down in Atlanta called Fifth Group Restaurants.
Okay.
That barrel is actually available at Tower exclusively if anybody wants it. That's an Aubin Clement Pinot Noir finish barrel. These other ones are experiments, so it's interesting and funky managing the yeasts and stuff in the wine.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Fortified
Awesome.
wines are different.
Good to know. Definitely good to know. Awesome. All right. All right, Mr. Judge, let's close this out with the third winner of the night. So we have Bourbon Taster, CJP, and who is our third winner, Mrs. Judge? I'm gonna get a little bit more of this hazmat
There you
so
go.
I can end the night and fall asleep. No, honestly, but hey, this has been a blast. Honestly, thank you guys. This has been so much fun. I really do appreciate it.
Sorry, we ran you over the hour. I know that Patrick warned you that we were going to probably go over, but this has been a lot of fun for us.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Our third one is Ryan. Oh, awesome. Hey, congrats, Ryan. Very nice. So Ryan, just reach out to me on website or Instagram, whatever.
So the hazmat that you have, I'm trying to think of examples. I know that there are out there, but rarely does hazmat come in a single barrel. I mean, those who don't know, to get left with something that hazmat, it's super concentrated. It's very low fill. It takes a lot of heat and a lot of time to evaporate off all that water. So sometimes what you're left with, it might be hazmat, but it's just not good. Like it's over oaked, it's tannic, it's just hot.
Correct.
You know, some of these, they can be 140 proof and they might just taste like, pure grain neutral spirit. Like it's just nothing but heat and ethanol. So to have a hazmat single barrel is, an even more elevated experience than, a blend of hazmat. Like some of the old stags, stag seniors from back in the day, those hazmats, those 144 proofs, some of those drink every bit of 144 proof. And some of the barrels that we have that are 146 proof taste like 120. It's just amazing the differences in all these barrels.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And this, honestly, I mean, to me, even though it's 144, I would say if I was sipping it blind, to your point, Patrick, I probably would have guessed maybe like 130, 132.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to kill you.
I know. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Clinton. I really do, honestly. But it's actually really good. I get, honestly, a ton of leather, a good bit of oak, and a lot of even like chocolate notes in it as well. But a ton of leather, which I love personally.
And then you kind of described that chocolate note. That's one of the biggest things we're picking up a lot with these Atlanta HMGPs. The chocolate bombs on these things has been wild. Like we just did a 5-year-old. So we're a little bit different with our bottles or our barrels. We have a store locally that loved a barrel so much. They were just kind of nervous, like, hey, can we move a barrel to all barrel proof? We're like, well, the market shifted, whatever. They're like, what if we do some at bottled and bond and some at cash strength? And we're like, okay, like we're small enough that we can, pivot and do some different things. So we let them do 70% at 100 proof and 30% at cash strength. And it was one of those barrels that we dumped. It stopped Adams like, what is that? Like it was one of those biggest chocolate notes that you'll ever smell. And I actually had a little bit earlier and it's still like that big chocolatey notes, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, indeed. CJP, you're right. It is like a big dark glass of goodness. It really is. I love that, by the way. That is awesome. That is too funny. It does look like cola in your glass. It really does. It's too funny. Hey, real quick, I just want to say huge shout out as we wrap up tonight. Huge shout out to you guys, honestly, Adam, Patrick, Clinton. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day. I know you guys are super busy. You guys are running your numerous different brands. Number one, super busy day jobs, family, kids. I have my daughter as well, my father as well. So I get how busy you guys are. So
girl dads rock.
Thank you very much. What'd you say, Adam?
Girl dads all the way.
Yes, girl dads.
We're all girl dads. Yeah.
We're all girl dads.
Oh, we're all girl dads. Oh, even better. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. No, seriously. So thank you guys so much. And thank you also for allowing me the opportunity to partner with you guys for a barrel pick. I really am excited for it. I mean, I know my patron community, they blew up when I told them that we were doing a barrel pick with Short Barrel. So that's like super exciting. So this has been so much fun.
Start hydrating right now.
Yes.
I will. I promise. I'll have to bring Mrs. Judge with me now so that she can just keep, bringing like the water with me, like, bottles of
Please
water.
Please do. So. I don't know if you've ever been to Atlanta. Atlanta's a lot of fun. We can definitely recommend anything that you guys want. We'll make sure your time in Atlanta is a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of cool distilleries also in Atlanta while you're here. Like, ASW and a lot of others. So there's some cool stuff going on in the South.
Absolutely. Hey, gentlemen, great times. Thank you all so much. Really do appreciate it. Thanks everyone for checking out the channel tonight and the episode and the live stream. And cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much for having us. We got a blast.
Cheers.
Likewise, gentlemen. Thanks so much. Take care.
Good night.